Where those people are going in, that's where you're at.
Oh, I got some there. But that's
He did not go.
so I guess if you want to stop somewhere real quick. Then we'll walk. Walk around and do it.
The gospel and, you know, the gospel is very important spice cooking. Like I always say. This is your favorite pet. Spice link, just let me know.
I was so happy because this dog is eating his ghost.
Wait, I saw her.
She has to let the
Yeah, they can like, but the thing is, if people then after
Yeah. You gotta go. I gotta go pick up James since he's going to be coming tomorrow. He's gonna come to that. Oh yeah. seconds.
That's my home girl. I can have someone else take it.
That's fine. I just look at all.
You have a nice day. Y'all too.
Caleb. Caleb.
What's up?
Take a picture.
Thank you anyway. You got a tacos?
No.
Okay. One over here. One over here. One over here. And one up top for good luck.
Thank you.
Wait, Nami, can I take some?
And yeah, I don't count cross-humanistic contamination. I usually also don't. I mean, I usually don't count picking because I'm taking the dairy out, but today they have a brownie cookie. I'm vegan now, by the way. I'm vegan now. I want to cosplay the Matrix. Warm and gooey. I'm getting You can do that. I'm getting already. Maybe I get one of these Callie
I haven't been out of my house. I don't
I'm actually to get out. I'm supposed to get out.
tried it.
On Thursdays when we do our like the the free store and the it's just the food distro thing that we do. Afterwards we go to bars. We go to like this. We go to a community garden that's also just a chill hangout spot. We have like a fire pit and like just like just like a bunch of benches and people just chill and hang out there. It's awesome.
Yay.
A picnic table where people go to smoke weed.
And it's all just pretty.
Yeah, it's just yeah. It apparently started because somebody decided there was just an empty lot, and somebody was just like, "What if we just started a garden here without asking the city?" And then they did, and eventually they were just so insistent on doing it that the city gave us was like, "Okay, I guess." And now yeah. Find your way.
Registration, stuff of
Michaela? This guy was freaking sick.
if we want to have some early morning fun, Michael, you could go to that. That's a good morning.
I mean, I'm tempted. I won't lie.
Yeah, I am. That'd be like the only place not late. That's weird. That means we don't do it.
I mean, I'm willing to do that.
And there's a voice outburst coming right after that. Not with the other.
I should probably look at the schedule myself.
And then we talked about that. The EMB, or not the EMB, the opening. Look around in the queue. Oh, there's a flea market. From 3 to 5 tomorrow.
I do not need to know this because I would be
I didn't realize.
tempted to go to that.
I didn't know either. I did not know.
Going all the way back is fair.
You don't have to say.
We could also. Not voice actors are imaginary.
John Fermion's hosting up here. I know, and but Jason said he might hijack it if he's available. Since it's just John.
How about this? 3/4, but minus egg white.
Right. I got the video. I got all the videos too.
Oh my god.
That's really him. That's the most famous man here. Like,
That was hilarious, bro. It's gonna be somewhere. It's gonna be somewhere out there.
There's always a picture of Miss Jackson.
I
I mean, if you ever curious, Google and
If it wasn't for the time of this, and the fact that it interacts with the other one, I would be tempted to see what that is.
What's it for the way to find out? I know what you think. I didn't. What do you think? Even though that sounds interesting too. It's an interesting one. They're interesting, way more interesting panels tomorrow than the old
Yeah. Kind of have to.
Oh my god, oh my god, Charlie and Tim,
Talk about it and decide what we do.
I'm gonna be honest. The only one that really appeals to me far was the Micropet. I am curious how that's gonna go. I feel like
Yeah.
it'd be hilarious.
Well, there's a voice actor panel I go to, which is after that.
I'm just saying that's.
No, I know.
I'll still tag along.
And I still want to take pictures then. I do want to, like I said, hit the dealers. I did say I was going to get for someone, so probably done that today.
Not that I'm aware of.
Vending machines anywhere.
The one that I saw for drinks, everything I cared about was out of stock. So yes, the only other vending machine I've seen was for hair products. I thought it was food at first because it looked like a cooler one. No,
You can drink some of it. Wouldn't be
one.
too good, but
One. Brian, I need you to understand something real quick. So look at the picture, right? You see all those cables and all the zip ties? I am being called out by that first comment. I am being called out, and it's not wrong. I mean, yeah. I can't help it, I'm an idiot. I was trying to grin and you were just not looking at all. I mean, that's fair. Who needs sleep?
See you if I don't, I'll see you later.
Otherwise,
36-hour all-nighter, you get late.
I might just have to.
I can math, I swear. I can math, I swear. 48-hour all-nighter, you got it. That would be very expensive. I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, I'd be safer whether I sleep or not, let's be real. I probably shouldn't have said that. Till what? Remind me, I'm blank. Thank you. Thank you. I'm following, I swear. Very well done.
Running That's what we're saying.
Hey, pantomime. Not that I'll understand.
They end up having higher click-through rate means higher chance of it.
What did you learn?
Essentially a calzone.
You know, if I realized, if I knew this was going to be open, I probably wouldn't have had my snacks. I probably would have saved it. But since I did, I know whatever I get, I wasn't going to finish.
That's fair.
So that's why I'm still thinking I might get something when we leave. Take a stop somewhere. I'm sorry.
I'm trying so bad not to make it work. Your shirt is hilarious, thank you.
What'd you say?
Your shirt is hilarious, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I'm realizing it would be hilarious if we did the face of Luffy. Yep. Yep.
I'm not.
I know, that's why I said it'd be hilarious.
It looks so awkward.
Yeah.
Actually, doing it.
A little bit.
I could. I don't. I'm going to do that.
Oh, that is wonderful. Ryan. Never mind. Never mind. That is not what I thought that said. I thought it was a definite. It's not.
It is fun. It's in
The one that's
the
open.
Yami lane.
Ah, okay.
Or whatever.
I see what you're doing.
I still haven't gotten
That works.
Yeah. There's multiple adjustments in the world. It's not just one.
You can read what it says, sir.
I'm just saying.
I'm being blessed. I love how I go to check the steps on my watch and it just slowly decides I've made multiple hundred more steps when I look at it. Is that a 9:30? Okay. You guys will probably have to head there without me for the start. 9:12, and I still haven't
I'll
got
say about 9:20. You don't get your food early. And
either way, I know where I'm going.
that's literally basically what it is.
Yep. Assuming it doesn't get capped out like this.
I don't think so. The other one was the dancing panel, so everyone was like, that one makes sense too. Space is even more important.
Respect, so I'm not assuming.
How's that going, boy? Is this alright?
I am shocked. My feet are only just now starting to hurt. I would have expected that to have happened a while ago.
I got to that.
That's fair. And I'm not moving, so that's probably why I'm noticing.
Yeah.
fact that I found the
There was
seller and they
one-
still have it.
There was one that they had that I thought about getting, but I don't remember what it said.
There.
It's about being evil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that sounds like a fun shirt, but I don't need more shirts.
Ah, that's good.
Actually, yeah, I'm not.
I mean, there's a lot of things that neither one of us need more of, but that's not going to stop us.
Hey, where are you guys? Hello, where are you guys?
Butt-headed one of the show.
What? Oh, okay.
Trying to be nice to strangers.
Yeah, Seb's eating. She got some food. Huh?
That a moment ago said oven baked subs and I just read sun baked ovens. No.
I don't remember what it was, but I think the ones better, but I don't remember what it was.
I swear I'm not dyslexic. The sun isn't even on. I do blame the yellow color.
I wish I could remember the thing, but I don't know what it was. I can appreciate it. I can't.
Apparently. Hey, to make you feel better, I will randomly and occasionally just get an accent out of nowhere that I've never had in my life. Just for almost like one word. It's really strange. It's really jarring and it's really hard.
I can't really explain why. I was sitting there recently. Granted, I haven't made any attempts. I did yesterday. But to build my impression. Not speaking. Not speaking.
Well, no, I figured that. I don't know why I decided to bring that little letter. I'm here again. I don't know why I decided to bring it with
That would have just been, for me, it would have been the purple wig, the button ears, gloves,
Whoa!
and then for you, it's the gloves.
What?
I got a raccoon on my shoulder. Oh, I did.
He's not a raccoon. He's a reindeer.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't even know this open.
Call it.
You have no idea how much I just wanted to say.
Well, I was like, wait, is it here?
No, someone else.
I know.
I'm just being.
That would have been really funny.
It would have been freaking
That would have
awesome.
been amazing.
Ah.
Oh, how did you? And before time, too. I think it should go fantastic.
I should have moved because my feet are partially numb now.
I think you can still take it upstairs.
Yes, you and your giraffe legs.
Last year we did our adult anime meadow, which, contrary to what you
Like they got lost at one point, and then they were like, oh, "We have to add this character." Basically, how all I heard about it is just oh cool. I was like, "Oh, how could we possibly be in
Yeah, but you know, that's great. That's not fun.
I'm just kind of waiting on my next one. Yeah, there's a guy giving it is a taxonomy major, or I think it's like animal science major, giving a taxonomy class. They better do it at 9:30 at night, am I right? I'm gonna be honest, it was one of those things where it's like I kept finding more panels to go look and do, and I just haven't kept staying. Yeah, the only two.
You remember the one character from,
Still be back.
why am I blanking so hard?
I know it's not a sport.
Good lord. Powers anime with the umbrella guy.
Oh, that's what it's
That. Why was I blanking so hard? Anyway, no, the one character from that is more what my brain went to, so anywho, not that it makes a difference.
Yes, you would.
Sorry, being noisy, trying not to be.
I got 2 large coffees, or 2 large rolls. I had a chicken salad sandwich, breakfast, and a Dunkin' Donuts treat. Those items combined, I think cost me $3 I bought. If you want to get technical, I spent a lot more. But Alan was paying for it because it was something crazy. So yeah, I came in.
print.
I accidentally hate Goofy for 20 seconds. I had to say a very serious
That's the main restraint stockings.
Yeah.
That's not our main.
It took me like the moment I asked. I was like, no.
You see a it to be fair, you see a main restraint stockings. It's a pretty fair size.
Why? You've been doing a lot of stuff.
You're good. I'll talk to you later. Love you. Oh, fuck you. I'll talk to you later. Don't worry about it. I'll use it.
It's getting out.
I used to have $3.
I used to have 3.
Now I have 3 at work.
We're going home.
Can we maybe stop at 4?
I'm right.
They're letting out, so they're probably going to be putting it.
It's having them.
Yeah.
I wanted to take a cosplay picture that I was not 100% sure about.
It feels good out
And I looked it up and I'm like, I can't leave this convention without this
No,
picture.
we're staying for the show.
I've had plenty of those before.
I walked by
We're
it.
going to the bar. We're going to the bar. I love you guys. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have made a little.
Actually, I need
I think it might have been a little awkward because they were kind of. They let me take the picture, so I'm not. I can't really do it.
No, I'm doing a real cheap trip to the bar. I was gonna like maybe put my Ellie back together, but it's like really flexible. Yeah, me too. I'm already like, I don't know Ellie. I'm what's happening for the rest of your itinerary?
19 multiple people come out with this. I think they'll have to have my photo.
Yes. You know them, they were in Plum Creek. Yeah, she did. She might try to be around, but not for the devil. A devil from the Bible. Yes. No, I'll just wish for it. We went to the huge bitch. I hate her. It's just on the same so what happened? like, but it was just there. So I just used to fun. You can go in the, you want like an edgy staircase? Yeah. 5 4 5 me. I got 2 4. Oh, there's also she was hoping this whole time. I was like, you're reading over. It was and then yes. Okay. Oh, yeah, so I have
like 9 months. There's different natures. Those are words, not numbers.
I like dialogue. Yes.
Opie being a good person, told us that at some point you were very crying and wanted to see them all crying in the people. So let them know. Brought that up. I said, what? Yes. Brought that up. I said, Opie said you wanted to be alone. Why did you trust Ophelia? I said, after this whole time that she's been home. And so I waited. I was like, Opie, I wanted to yes, and I ended up like
Yeah, no, it sounds like I mean, it's about the reader question or something. Like,
the dopey, like she said, the dopey, like the super nice. And the excuse was, I went with you. I bought it and then I ran up and I said, like, and the only thing they said, and I was so like, oh, what are we in this? I like Hachi from Nana. And they went, this is like if I were to cosplay Hachi. And I was like, because I'm not.
I've only taken 14 cosplay pictures today, which is crazy to me.
How have I taken more photos than you?
Because that's it.
And I'm not including the photo shoot.
okay, let's talk about pretty sure what's going to say. And he's a brother. And he's a visitor.
I remember the time I didn't know what happened.
People are going in.
We're doing literally nothing.
Yeah, we're just sitting there.
People are going into the room.
I heard you.
What time? I don't know. The way he was trying to make it seem like is that somebody went to him and said, oh, we're going to kick them out. But I don't think that was
So head on in and I'll be in in the morning.
we didn't even know what the fuck was going on. No, he was just like, you guys come here. And then what I did, friends leave. Yeah. Just come over here and and don't fucking sorry. Which is kind of
He's right there, then I'm gonna probably go to a random one.
I haven't seen him since, but yeah.
That's kind of her.
I woke up and cried and got really pissed. So
One of our friends is like from Snapchat. Yeah, mostly as an observer. Yeah, as an observer. But she's like, I looked on her Snapchat and she's saying, oh, I didn't realize it was this weekend. Where have you been there? No, you just know that like half the attendees don't like you. Yeah.
is she still on Instagram?
Yeah. Still like saying that and everything.
Oh, wait, I'm probably seeing.
Yeah.
Wait, I might still be YouTuber. Oh, I can stalk her. Sorry, I'm just. Before? I think so, yeah.
Back then,
I'm just like,
when everything went down, it was more just like, you know what, I don't want to talk about you, but you look back and you're like,
what the hell? Yeah, literally. Ew. That's how I feel about my old avatar. Like, what the hell? Actually, these every picture.
also, wait, this is the question he takes if you
She feels so bad.
but she'll go, so happy that I disbanded my old idol group, because now I'm like, free by she was like, it wasn't a good decision to work with amateurs, like not professional dancers. She made like such a good decision to disband my old idol group. It was the right decision for them to dancers because she went to college. Oh, I'm like, I have a problem with I work at this.
What? At the soy factory. Soy factory. Maybe you should do that. Remember when Kaiko was my fan and she fucking lifted up her skirt and fan her skirt? That's what I was like, okay. Oh, it was Kaiko cosplay. She went. That's what we used to do. She's so lovely, but she's not. She's so funny. She gave me a hug and we were doing Eve, so I was wearing a white blazer and she hugged me and there's a huge foundation stain on it. So I gave her shit for it at the con, so I gave her a hug and I'm like, and she's like, no, I don't wear foundation anymore. Like, I'm sure I can find it in the pictures because it's just. No, but. Oh, she's TikToks? I like how
That's how she does the most.
when she.
When did you put this in?
I found out from the post that she made.
Yeah.
first up, down the taxonomic tree, birds are eukaryotes, which is a name that means easily formed nuts in English and Greek. I was unfortunately made that prokaryotes, the other group of life, is not related in terms of its name. So eukaryotes are organisms with a single and multicellular with a nucleus and velastated DNA. They either have mitochondria as the powerhouse of their cells or chloroplasts, and these include things like protists, plants, fungi, and animals. And generally they have incredibly diverse forms. Then we go into our kingdom. Fish are birds are animals. The definition of an animal is simply eukaryotic cells that don't have a cell wall, and they have what is called a Golgi apparatus for processing and transporting proteins. Animals are also heterotrophic, meaning they need to consume food to survive, and they're incredibly diverse from here. Which one of the things I find interesting is you wouldn't see something as like a single cell parasite as being an animal, but if you fit this definition, it would work. Then when we get down to phylum, birds are chordates, which is the most plentiful and dominant phylum in the Pokemon world. And chordates must have the 5 following features at some point in development. They have a coelom, which is a membrane that protects the digestive organs. They have pharyngeal slits. In land creatures, this becomes the pharynx or voice box, and in aquatic creatures, it becomes the gills. They have a post-anal tail right above their butt. They have an organ called an endostyle or a thyroid, as well as a brain stem with something to protect it. Not exactly a vertebrate. All vertebrates are chordates, but not all. There are chordates that don't have skulls. Some other rules for chordates, they have bilateral symmetry, so each side has got something on it. They have circulatory system, body segments, and choose very specific proteins when we get the question. So that gives us into birds. So the best definition of a bird is that it is a warm-blooded theropod dinosaur. Dinosaurs never truly went extinct. We just have birds. They are a group of vertebrates. Vertebrates is not actually a real taxa. It's more of a common thing that we apply to animals that have spines. And they're also technically reptiles, which I'll get into this. They showed up about 72 million years ago. Birds have feathers. They lay hard-shelled eggs. They are usually toothless and beaked. They have a 4-chambered heart. Most, but not all, have wings. And they can be separated into 2 main groups, the Paleognathae, which are the primitive birds, and the Neognathae, which are all other birds. And these words basically mean old mouth and new mouth. And then the new mouth birds can be separated into 2 groups, the fowl and the neoapes, which just is like all other birds. Birds just separate off, and then there's just a larger like kitchen sink category that they all fit into. And up here I have an evolutionary tree, so you can see how this works. So there was a common ancestor, and then some of them branched off and became crocodiles. Then we go through the different dinosaurs, pterosaurs, the Ornithians. We get down to Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptors, Archaeopteryx, which was the last dinosaur that became birds, all the way down. So why are birds technically reptiles? So there's a little thing called cladistics, which is a way of characterizing animals, and in the rules of cladistics, you have to account for everything from one ancestor. So you can see here from the beginning with the amniotes that some of them branch off to become mammals, and then the diapsids, which basically have 2 holes on each side of their head, became what we know as lizards, snakes, squatars, turtles, crocodiles, non-avian dinosaurs, and birds. So you can't, if you want to say like reptiles are a clade, you can't leave birds out, which especially make the evolutionary history really confusing. And why taxonomists argue about things is that some people will say, no, this is a bad definition for reptiles, but by the definition, birds are, well, technically reptiles. Another interesting fact I want to talk about is that birds have GPS. So they can detect the Earth's magnetic fields. And so basically they have this protein in their eyes, and in this complicated diagram, basically when blue light hits their eyeballs, this protein goes through these different states, and as the Earth's magnetic field is like hitting the bird, these 2 atoms start rapidly oscillating, and from these changes in oscillations, it goes to the nerves of the bird, and then its brain can read these changes, and they use them to be able to navigate and There was even an experiment where they shielded the migratory birds from the Earth's magnetic field, and they didn't know where to go. But once like this interference was removed, the migratory birds would immediately flock to the direction where they were supposed to be going. As well as birds have magnetite and iron in their beaks. And they've even done things where they've attached magnets to the back of pigeons, and they've been unable to orient themselves. So, talking about birds in the Pokemon world, just like in the real life, Pokemon descended from Archeops, which is based on the real life Archaeopteryx, the ancestor of all bird Pokemon. I specifically like Archeops' design because it's kind of like half reptile, half bird. And generally speaking, in the Pokemon world, most bird Pokemon are comparable to their real life analogs. There's not a whole lot of differences. And generally speaking, the first couple of evolutions tend to have radically different body shapes to what it will actually end up. So, some honorable mentions I wanted to throw in here in terms of ancient birds. Of course, Archeops, which is the first bird Pokemon. It is a fossil Pokemon based on the Archaeopteryx. It's got feathers, it's got some dinosaur features like teeth and a long bone tail. However, in Pokemon, Archeops is said to be able to outrun cars. It's a pack predator, and another fun fact about it is the Pokédex number 4597 is the Dewey Decimal for feathered dinosaur. And I also want to include Lugia in here, who's closer to just being a regular theropod, is the diving Pokemon. It is so powerful that it hides away in the world islands because even it is afraid of its own power, as merely flapping its wings would cause a storm that lasts for 4 days. Yes?
I think Lugia is pretty interesting because I've seen a few different phylogenetic trees, and some consider it to be more like a theropod. The one that I like the most is that it's mostly inspired off of a beluga whale, but I've also seen it replace the theropods as well. So.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of features that I would more commonly associate with dinosaurs, especially with how the legs look and how the head looks. But yeah, I've seen it multiple ways too. And in terms of inspirations, Lugia was inspired by the Ryujin, the Japanese sea god. He even shares the same color scheme as Ryujin's palace, as well as things like plesiosaurs, whales, dragons, and herons, which is where that one came from. So first one we'll be bird grouping we'll be talking about is the Paleomorphic. So this is birds with a primitive or reptilian mouths. These are the dinosaurs, birds that kind of look like modern dinosaurs, from ostriches to emus, including the cassowaries. And in these guys, the male is actually the one who the one bird I want to highlight is the ostrich, who are absolutely terrifying. They're anywhere from 6'11" to 9 feet tall. They can run up to 70 miles per hour, and their legs are powerful to kill in a single kick. They can't fly, but they actually use their wings to stabilize while they're running. You may have also heard the phrase ostriches bury their head in the sand to avoid danger. So this is a very old misinterpretation. There was an old Greek historian called Pliny the Elder who apparently saw an ostrich bury its head in the sand and was like, it's doing that to camouflage. But what's actually probably happening is that the ostrich was consuming some stones to help with its digestion, or it was in the process of trying to bury its eggs. And also, if you didn't know, ostrich eggs are huge as compared to a chicken egg and a dollar. They're about 3 pounds, and there's some between, like, depending on the ostrich, like 1 to 4% of the ostrich's body weight. Also, yes.
And that's still a single cell.
Yeah, that's also a single cell. On the ostrich Wikipedia page, there's an image of a ostrich omelet, like in a skittle, and the caption is in Chinese, and the author is also from China, and clicking on the article doesn't lead you to any more information on the image. There are some really interesting diagrams and pictures in the bird and fish page on Wikipedia in general, so if you ever want to go on a deep dive and want to see some funny diagrams, I highly recommend looking at birds and fish. So the ostrich and Pokemon. So generally speaking, in Pokemon, the ostriches seem to have lost their wings with the Dodrio, the triple bird Pokemon. So the thing about Dodrio is that it's got 3 heads, and it actually, in the Pokédex, says that it has 3 sets of organs. Now, my take on this is that both Doduo and Dodrio are a form of conjoined twin, because usually when we see these multiple heads, it's the process of multiple fetuses fusing together, so you actually have 3 different bodies in one organism. Each head has its own distinct personality. generally in Dojrio, the one with the strongest and biggest neck ends up being the leader head. And it was also stated in one of the guidebooks, I think, that this Dojrio form is a recent mutation, that they had discovered Doduo about 3 years before Pokemon Fire Red begins. Then we have Espathra, which is just known as the ostrich Pokemon. This is another case of a Pokemon just being the real animal. It can run 120 miles per hour. It's aggressive, and it also has psychic powers. And that tends to be my least favorite type of Pokemon, where it's like Sharpedo, its skin or like teeth. Yeah, man, it's a shark. Like, there are a few Pokemon like that where they just don't do anything more than. So then we have the Galoansary, which is a word that means rooster goose. So this order is your waterfowl and your fowl. So the Galoforms, which are rooster forms, and then Seraforms, which are goose forms. They're known for laying large clutches of eggs. They develop pretty quickly. They hybridize pretty easily, and their hybrids tend to be fertile. And they tend to be polyandrous and polygynous, so one male will fertilize multiple females, or one female will have multiple partners. So fowls in real life. So some concept of fowls is that they have what are called caruncles. Those are like the red things around the male's head that you see in the males. The thing under a turkey's neck is called a snood, and the thing on top of the rooster's head is called a comb or a wattle. I can't remember the word they used for caruncle. It also is a yeah. It says a caruncle is a small fleshy excrescence, which is a word for outgrowth. Beautiful term. They tend to be sexually dimorphic. Blaziken, I actually found out, is based on this terrifying creature, the Shamo chicken. Because at first I was like, chickens don't stand up. They made up for Pokemon, but then like you find these guys in Japan. I'm like, okay, all right, maybe they're on the thing here. They're usually hunted for their meat and eggs, as you know. They're adapted to most biomes. They're reluctant flyers. They can't fly, and this group also includes peacocks here. So, to the chickens. So, Blaziken is personally my favorite starter. I grew up with Ruby and Sapphire. Blaziken's really found in the wild. It practices martial arts. It's never stated if Blaziken learned martial arts from humans or just they kind of developed their own form of martial arts. They're also said to be able to lead 30 stories. The pheasant is obviously based on the pheasants, but its first two evolutions are based on pigeons. The male has a wattle, as you can see here, which is used for attracting mates. They're said the males are more intimidating, but the females move faster. Then we have the Inseraforms, the ducks, swans, and geese. Webbed feet, they are adapted for water. They tend to be aggressive, and they're migratory and often form large flocks. So the first up is a special group that I dub the Strange Ducks. They're a Pokemon exclusive family, and they're based on mythical duck creatures. So Ludicolo is half Latino and half duck. I don't know why evolution decided that sombrero would be important, but it is. So when I crossed Ludicolo, I was immediately hit with memories to Mirror B. Has anyone played?
I was about to say, how are you gonna have Ludicolo up there and not Mirror B?
Does anyone not know who Mirror B is or never? Okay, so
what? You guys are missing out.
Somebody hit the Mirror B theme.
I'm just gonna have to pull this up on YouTube.
Yeah,
Mirror B is the man.
You need to see this.
They gave a disco haired man an entire Ludicolo theme, and I love him.
Does anyone know? But let me ask this: does anyone know Miracle Bee?
Nope.
If you go back, it pauses after you beat what's the dude with Dante?
I know.
Dakin.
Yeah.
After you beat him, and you go back to your page they're saying, knock off. I read it called Miracle Bee.
I have seen this guy, but I didn't know him.
This is Mirror B, the
That's
dude.
great.
I played Pokemon XP first. I didn't play Colosseum. Like this guy just moonwalks in. This is your introduction.
Bro really just interrupted the story and said, we're doing this.
Ludicolos.
Oh, me too.
So like, imagine, like it's like 2 in the morning. I have it saved in 6 hours. I'm like 6 years old. He rolls up with his Ludicolos and wipes my whole party, and I'm like,
Oh.
what is this guy's problem? He's my favorite Pokemon character of all time. Like his music's very fun. If they did not come up with a
We love Kirby.
we love Kirby. They need to bring him back.
It's on Switch 2 now.
It is,
Yeah,
yeah.
they need to make a third game of it.
They never will, unfortunately.
I actually call
I
it
could dream.
my favorite Pokemon games. I highly recommend them.
Coliseum.
Taxonomy. So, it's owned by the greatest character in all of Pokemon. Also, something I want to point out, Ludicolo's cells kick into overdrive when they're hit with sound waves.
Yep.
So I'd like to believe he's powering up his Ludicolos by playing that music. Also, I want to point out that it's described that Lombre, their body is apparently slimy and unpleasant to the touch. Okay. And then we have Magmortar, who's half duck and like half salamander. They can blast flames up to 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit. So like I noticed in a form of Pokemon power scaling is every time Magby evolves, it just keeps getting hotter. They just keep giving you Fahrenheit values for it. And it's also said it's used in factories for steel processing. Then we get to the actual waterfowl and ducks. We've got Farfetch'd, the wild duck Pokemon. They've been hunted to an endangered status, kind of similar to the real ducks. They use the leaf like a sword. It's very protective of it. And Farfetch'd, who survived many battles, become Sir-fetched. And the reason for Sir-fetch'd's design is that leeks are larger in the UK and Japan, hence this regional variation. We have the Gold Duck, the duck Pokemon, who is often mistaken for Kappa. They're a powerful swimmer and they save people from shipwrecks, and they have, compared from Gold Duck, they have actually mastered their psychic powers. Then we have Swans and Geese. We have Ducklet and Swanna. So despite the name, baby swans are actually called cygnets. They're weak flyers but strong swimmers. They're herbivores. Swanna is a swan. They can fly for thousands of miles, and flocks of Swanna will actually dance together. And their dances have inspired people to make ballets and stuff based on their dances. Then we get into the Neo-Aves, which is our regular birds. So hummingbirds are absolutely fascinating. Bar for bar, they have the fastest metabolism on planet Earth. They consume up to 150,000 calories a day to support their flight, and their heart rates can go up to 1,260 beats per minute. And when they aren't flitting around, they enter torpor, which allows them to slow their metabolism down to 1/15 its normal speed at night to conserve energy. Their wings are primarily built for hovering, and they have actually co-evolved with a lot of their plants. A lot of the plants they feed on have evolved to be pollinated by them. They're named for the distinct hum of their wings. Their songs aren't the humming, it's the hum of their wings they're named after. They also have dedicated brain structures for mimicry and singing. They use 100% of the sugars they consume to power their flight. They're like so efficient that they can get energy from their food within 30 to 45 minutes of consuming it. And despite their high metabolism, they have an unusually long lifespan. Generally speaking, things with higher metabolic rates tend to burn themselves out quicker, but not the hummingbirds for some reason. So our hummingbird example is actually Zapdos. So Zapdos is obviously larger than a hummingbird. He clocks in about 5'3", and morphologically he looks similar to a hummingbird. Galarian Zapdos, however, represents a kiwi, and its wings have atrophied. Generally speaking, Zapdos is rare, lives above the clouds, and highly territorial. Despite being one of the first legendaries, there's not a whole lot of lore on Zapdos and Articuno and Moltres, other than that they're rare and they tend to be connected to one of the seasons. Then we have one of my favorite birds, the penguin, whose family name means fat goose. These are flightless semi-aquatic birds. We actually don't know how they're related to the other Neo-Aves. Some people theorize they're related to storks. Other people have found that they're actually more related to pelicans. Their white and gray plumage acts as camouflage in the water. From an aerial view, it's hard to see them. They have a gland under their eyes that allows them to filter salt from consumed water. And they actually aren't the real penguins. They're actually stolen valor penguins. These guys down here, the great auks, were were the original penguins that went extinct, and these guys are named after them because they look similar, but they're not all that related. As the penguins in Pokemon, we have Ice-Cube. Ice-Cube forms ice around its head to keep cool. He's a poor swimmer that kind of floats around aimlessly. However, it's highly adaptable. It doesn't really care that it like falls into the water and ends up in a new location because they can just adapt to it. This hair that you see here is attached to its brain, and it uses it to fish. And it's actually based on that great Auk, because Auks also floated using their hands. Then we have one of my favorite starters, Empoleon, the Emperor Pokemon. It uses its steel blades to cut through ice. It's highly prideful. And as young as their early evolved form Piplup, they don't like getting handouts on trainers. And this behavior of Piplup and Primlup and Empoleon not really being like that close to humans is likely based on real life penguin behavior, as that especially emperor penguins don't have any land predators, so they tend to be either like very curious with humans or will just pay them no heed. So we have cormorants, cormorant is the type of bird. Cramorant is the Pokemon. These are diving birds that can dive up to 300 feet in the water. And Cramorant is known for the gulp Pokemon because they're gluttonous and will swallow everything whole. Their preferred prey is Arrokuda, but however, in their massive gluttony, they'll accidentally scoop up Pikachus, which they will spit out because they don't exactly like them. They're often forgetful, and as an in-game mechanic, if they use Surf or Dive, it will cause them to either catch a Arrokuda or a Pikachu, and when they are attacked, they will spit them out at their attacker, dealing 25, but they fix 25% damage every time, which is pretty good.
Even if they get knocked out, they'll still do that.
That's just
Why?
That is. I was looking at a whole PS like a fix 25.
You gotta make up for those shit stats somehow.
Yeah.
Pikachu's are guaranteed paralyzed.
Yeah. Oh yes. Well, and then we have Flamingo. It's a flamingo. There's like makes it synchronized. This is just a flamingo. There's nothing I can say about this Pokemon. If you didn't know, groups of flamingos are called stands or flamboyances. They're actually related to doves. So this is another one where we looked at this thing and we're like, what is it related to? Apparently it's doves. Their fruitage are gleaned from their diet. They start off as white and then they consume brine shrimp, they turn pink. And this one-legged behavior is actually to reduce energy expenditure. Then we have the pelicanorms. These are birds that have all four toes webbed, and they include the shoe-billed pelicans and the hammercock. They tend to nest with multiple birds, however they pair up monogamously. They're diet fish. They have this throat patch, which is known as gular skin, or interesting terms here. They also have, most birds have air sacs throughout them to help with being aerodynamic, but they use it to stay above the water, and they're of course known for their large mouths. So one type of pelican that we will talk about is herons. So Moltres, so it's said to have inspired the legend of the Phoenix. No one's how it's actually stolen valor with Moltres. It's associated with the coming of the spring. Galarian Moltres is evil for some reason. It's said to consume the souls of those who touch its flames, and it's got like this funky aura around it. I don't know why it's like that. And then it's generally based on legendary fighter birds with a morphology similar to a heron, which is why it's here. Then we have Pelipper, which eats anything. It is said to consume lonely love discs that have lost their pairings and just scoops it and eats it. What is this problem? It also loves wishy-washy. It holds young in its throat pouch, and even Kukumuku. I don't know why it just does that. It eats the love disc, but it doesn't care about Kukumuku. It is also said to fit a small child.
Thank you, Mr. Dungeon.
Why do they know that?
I'm hoping nothing bad happens to that child.
Saving it from the purple Nami.
Yeah. And then Wingull is primarily like it's a seagull that's preyed on by Barraskewda and Talonflame. It's pretty pathetic. Alright, then we have Afro Aves. So you may be like looking at this name and you're like, oh, these are African birds. No, Afro Aves is a nebulous term that kind of means northern birds. There's nothing like really describing them. It's one of those things like clades where like here's just a bunch of birds that we classified all together. So one of them is a new type of bird that I learned about doing this panel is birds called Trogons and Quetzals. So Trogons and Quetzals are tropical birds. They're insectivores with broad bills. They have weak legs. They don't fly very far. They can hardly stand up. And as Wikipedia says, they have a lack of any engaging qualities. They're very pretty to look at, but they don't like do anything. And they hardly move outside of short flights to get some food, and obviously they're known for eating. So Trogon's Pokemon is we have Articuno. As Articuno resembles, I believe this is the resplendent Quetzal, as you can see by its long feathers here. So it says that Articuno is so beautiful that merely seeing it will make you die.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Territorial, it can control ice, it can help travelers, and Galarian Articuno is psychic for some reason. It just is. I don't know. It was just thinking real hard about how beautiful it was. Maybe I could figure a way to stop Kelly, because it's like it says like Articuno like helps travelers who are lost in the ice mountains, but how is it doing that when they die upon seeing it?
Via psychic powers. Which really leads into that they lack anything.
I love that all of the psychic bird Pokemon, they're just like it mastered its psychic powers, and like, well, does that help it in any sort of way? Like, it's just like, and it has these psychic. Okay, man. Well, I love the addition recently of like souls being a thing. Like when Barracuda no, it's no, I'm thinking of Basque Legion.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, Basque Legion calls upon the souls of all of the dead Basque Legion to power itself in its like final form.
I love this stupid fish.
Alright, then we have owls, another one for bird types. They're solitary nocturnal birds of prey. They've got binocular vision and they can turn their heads 270 degrees, and they're like the way their like carotid arteries and their spine is set up, they won't like choke out their blood supply turning their head all the way around. They can stand upright. They have super hearing, so their concave faces are used to draw sound towards them. And then their ears are asymmetrical, so one ear can track sounds above it, and one ear tracks sound below it. And then its brain calculates the time differential that sounds go to both ears to figure out where their prey is relative to themselves in the air. They actually rely less on visual cues. You blind an owl doesn't really do anything. They're just as effective as hunters. They can really easily overcome not having their eyesight. Their feathers also evolved to reduce noise in flight, but the downside is that they don't use their breathing glands to waterproof their feathers, like you get screwed up if there's a particularly heavy rain. Yes?
Random question, but I'm wondering if the thing where one ear listens up and one ear listens down, I'm wondering if you know if that's kind of like how most other vertebrates are when they go left or right, and that 90% of them are like one way and then 10% are the other way?
They it is related. Like we kind of have this ability, but very specifically, it developed this way in the owls because obviously they fly up. They soar over, so they need to be able to know like how so they're not missing their prey on the dive. So owls and Pokemon. We have Decidueye. I have a very embarrassing story of when I was in high school when I played Sun and Moon. I was a big Arrow fan at the time, so my Decidueye was named Oliver Queen.
Beautiful.
I'm not sorry for that fun. It is based. They're based on barn owls. They developed weaponry, and they can use their wings like bows to fire leaf arrows. And their coloration between Galarian Decidueye and regular Decidueye is based on deciduous trees and how they change leaf colors in the seasons. Noctowl is just a regular horned owl, and it can't even turn its head. It can turn its head less than a regular real owl. So it's kind of nerfed in that way. Togekiss is in here because I don't know how you would classify it other than it's got markings that resemble a snow owl, which is why it's here. And it brings gifts to peaceful areas. It doesn't like visiting places with strife. It's a weird egg bird thingy. Well, I guess it also got bees. But yeah, like initially, like looking at it, I was like, what?
So I mean, replace hearing with emotion. It's just an emotional owl.
Yeah, it's an emotional owl. Then we have a group called the Picroforms. These are all diurnal birds of prey except for hawks. They have sharp hooked beaks. They have raptorial claws. They're long-lived. They have low reproductive rates. These are eagles or vultures or ospreys or condors. Then about condors. So condors are specifically referring to two types of vultures. They have 8 to 12 foot wingspans and are the third heaviest birds around. Males have plumes and wattles, and you can see here. Another interesting feature is that their heads and necks evolve to not have feathers because when they are flying high up in the air, the UV rays from the sun sterilize the skin. around their head as a way of hygiene measure, as well as they eat carry. Another interesting thing between New World and Old World vultures is they had completely separate ancestors, and they kind of convergently evolved to eat carrion and Morphosaur. So condors in Pokemon, we have Mandibuzz, the bone vulture Pokemon. It makes its nest out of bones. It preys on Cubone and is said in the Pokédex to be the one that killed its mother. And another interesting thing is that Mandibuzz is an all-female species. However, it still picks up bones to use as fashion and to attract mates. So I believe that Mandibuzz is one of these species that learned, or I should say, evolved to parthenogenesis, which is a form of asexual reproduction. So there was probably a Mandibuzz species that did sexual reproduction, and then this branched off to do it asexually, so they're all female. And then we have eagles. Excipitridae, or eagles. They are highly sexually dimorphic. Males can be up to 25 to 30% bigger than the female. They have impressive plumage, but they're never colorful. They tend to resemble more dangerous birds, which is thought to be a form of an evolutionary adaptation where they look more dangerous than they are to other animals. Some Excipitridae in this group are called, so this group is really eagles and hawks, and some Excipitridae are called eagles, but like, eagle is not like a species. Eagle is a group of species that we call eagles. Now, so this also includes hawks, which hawks have amazing eyesight. They're sensitive to violet, but they can't see true UV, and they have 5 times the photoreceptors we do not. So eagles and Pokemon, we have Pidgeot. So despite Pidgey and Pidgeotto, Pidgeot more resembles a booted eagle, and is said to have died from Magikarp, is basically just described to be an eagle. Then we have Braviary, which is based on the bald eagle. They are aggressive, but they are nobly aggressive. They live protecting their friends. And Braviary respects Braviary that have battle scars, unless their scars are on their back. The Hisuian Braviary is based on the stellar sea eagle, which is native to Japan. And then we have other eagles. So we have another half bird, half Latino. It's called Lucha. If I had a nickel for every time a bird Pokemon evolved to be a Latino, I would have 2 nickels. So they live a solitary life, and they like things quiet, and therefore they beef with primates. Primates won't shut the hell up. They're based on the hawks. Hawks and eagles are closely related, as I mentioned. And this is also another thing, that some taxonomists are like small eagles, or just hawks. So like, that's not based on anything, not doing that. Then we have Staraptor, the predator Pokemon. It's fussy over its comb, and it's a loner. Not much about it. It's just a hawk, and he looks as edgy as he is. Then we have the Australades. This is another kitchen sink classification that is just birds from the southern hemisphere. They are predators. This includes things like falcons, parrots, and passerines, or perching birds, which are your songbirds, your swallows, your wrens, as well as phoenixes fit into this category, which we have with Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh's special ability is that it can resurrect Pokemon from the dead, as it did with Suicune and Raikkoudente. It hides from humans who may seek its power and leaves a rainbow as it flies. Okay, here's the thing. So Ho-Oh is just a phoenix. So why is Moltres the one that inspired the phoenix legend? Were they just like, oh yeah, phoenixes, like, they're firebirds, they can resurrect things, and then this guy showed up and like, oh my god, guys, we're right. Like, they can have that ability. Like, this looks like more like your traditional phoenix than Moltres. Inspirations for Ho-Oh. Generally speaking, it's based on different phoenix legends. Ho is the Japanese name for the Chinese phoenix, Huang. You've got your Western phoenix, or the human bird, the Middle Eastern phoenix, which is said to fly eternally and occasionally rebirthing itself for fire. Then we have falcons, like Talonflame. So Talonflame is based on the peregrine falcon. Peregrine falcon actually has the record of being the most widespread bird. Both of these guys are known for being incredibly fast. Talonflame can reach speeds up to 310 miles per hour. It can carry 220-pound Pokemon while flying, and its early forms are based on Japanese waxworks products. Its feathers are also fire retardant, and they're used to make firefighter uniforms in the Pokemon universe. And then with the Peregrine Falcon, they're not nearly as fast. Most verified estimates place around 114, but some apocryphal accounts place its speed as being above 200. And then we have parrots. We've got Squawkabilly here, the parrot Pokemon. So these guys are based on the monk parakeet, which is an invasive parakeet species. So kind of based on its reputation here. It is they're a bunch of punks, hence the name. They're loud and disruptive. So you've got an invasive city bird that is a punk, and these guys share similar plumages. And generally, these parakeets build nests that have multiple tenants from other species, and they have multiple entrances. The group takes care of their young, and different regions will actually have different dialects. And then we get to our perching birds. Or passerines, they have 3 toes forward, 1 toe back, which allows them to perch. That's their name. They're insectivores and omnivores. They have the best vocal control out of all of the birds, although not all of them sound musical. They have mimicry abilities, and this includes corvids. So corvidae. So normally when we think of corvids, we're thinking of crows and ravens, but there are others in this group like blue jays, magpies, and some others. They are highly intelligent. Some can use tools or pass the mirror test, so they can actually look in a mirror and know that that is them and not some other creature. They have elaborate mating rituals, they have social games, and they make food. So some corvids of Pokemon. We've got Honchkrow, the big boss Pokemon. He's called the Summoner of the Night. He can summon up to 100 Honchkrow to attack people and find food for it. They're scavengers. They will punish members of their flock that betray or fail his missions. And it and Murkrow love collecting shiny objects. Then we have Corviknight, the Raven Pokemon. It's said to play on Bunnelby. It has a regular Skarmory. It's pressured by Tinkaton, which pelts it with rocks. I don't think Tinkaton actually eats Corviknight. I just think it thinks that it's funny. And its sealed body allows it to shrug off most of its attackers. So I'm not showing a Pokemon, but one interesting thing I found is that crows have a mutualistic relationship with some other animals like wolves. Baby wolves and baby ravens will play with each other. They'll even hunt with each other. Ravens have even been seen to like call wolves to a large corpse, so the wolf will open it up and then the ravens will be able to dig in. They're also one of the few animals that can communicate displacement. So crows can actually go find something and then report back, and only very few animals are able to do this. We also see that crows that are thieves are actually, they develop a behavior where they're better at hiding food from potential thieves because they themselves, because they practice this thievery behavior, know like how they should be hiding things. They also like shiny objects, as Murkrow and Honchkrow describes. Yeah, one of my favorite stories of crow intelligence is that there was an ornithologist, he saw like there was like a dead creature and a raven came by and like, you know, it pecked it, it ate it a few times and it keeled over dead. And he was like, oh, it must have like had something in it. And a flock of ravens came and they circled around the corpse. You know, they saw their like fallen brethren. They're like, all right, we're not going to eat it, and they left. The dead crow got back up and kept eating the corpse.
There was also, I don't remember where this was at, but supposedly, assuming it's not, you know, fake and made up, because I haven't verified it, but supposedly there was a program somewhere over in Europe where they were actually using quote-unquote vending machines to train crows to pick up trash, and it would, you know, they'd put like cigarette butts in it, and it would give them a piece of food instead.
I hadn't heard about that, but I wouldn't put it past them. They are legitimately pretty smart, and they can pick stuff up like that.
There have been a lot of like separate instances of training crows to pick up money for them.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll also remember you if they're nice to them, and if you are mean to them, they will go back and report you to the rest of their crew.
Yep.
So if you see one, please be nice to them.
And then also scientific studies that they did where they taught crows like the idea of currency, that you can exchange this stuff called money that's on the ground for food. They'll have certain humans that just will not give them any food in this experiment, and once the crows give those humans money and realize that they're not getting food from them, they will never go to that human again. So they only go like trade with the humans that will understand their value with money.
All right, and then we have one last Pokemon exclusive family, the Starbirds or Novidae, which is Altaria as its only member. Despite this cloud-like appearance, the anime shows that these are actually feathers. We have several instances of Altaria being wet. It floats using these feathers, and it is the only bird Pokemon I found that actually has the magnetism thing in there. And it's like, Altaria uses magnetism to navigate. Well, they all should technically. I don't know why that's special to Altaria. And it has songs that can put people to sleep. And with that, I have come to the end of the panel. I will be back next week. I've got a con in Michigan, PenguinCon, that I'm doing some panels at, and then I will be guesting at Colossal Prime again. If you would like my links and here. I will then take any questions. Yes.
What's your plan for the next Pokemon taxonomy?
So I've done reptiles, done fish, I've done birds. I did myths and legends, which is a lot of the non animal Pokemon, a lot of the gods, a lot of the spirits and stuff like that. I want to attack because my main thing is amphibians. So I would like to do one on amphibians. There's obviously mammals, there's obviously insects. It's like I didn't. It's like I didn't. She was like, I didn't know that, and I was like, you did. Why did you think that? Like, well, because they go in the water, and I was like, what about sea stings? And they were like, that's a thing.
Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
With the fact that Oddish has like an actual scientific name in canon, do you want to? I want to know more about these Pokemon scientific names. I think that would be interesting. I just wanted to know your opinion on that.
I definitely think it would be interesting. I don't have a big Latin thing to be able to just start naming them off the bat, but that would be an interesting thing.
That implies in-universe Pokemon taxonomy.
Yeah, it does. I would like. They actually put out a Pokemon ecology book recently.
Yep. I was gonna say, have you ever seen the source of it called the World of Pokemon.com?
I think I've heard of it, but I haven't been on.
It is a very useful resource for this type of stuff. It breaks down, and they are still updating it to this day, the taxonomy, the biology, or like the different biomes they exist in. They try to link everything together as best they can.
Yeah, I've been really liking in the newer games. I'm adding more biology things in there. We've got convergent evolution, like Pokemon. We've got the fossil Pokemon that will put together with multiple fossils, and it actually says that because they're a hybrid, they have a reduced reproduction. I'm really liking that in a lot of the newer designs that I've seen, because I kind of fell off playing the game, so I'm getting a lot of the new Pokemon from doing the research on these panels. And also just kind of seeing how ridiculous things have gotten, like Farfetch'd needs to take 3 critical hits in a row to evolve into Surfetch'd.
Oh yeah, have you seen the Runerigus evolution one?
I was about to mention that.
That godforsaken evolution of it must be at 1/3 of its health, or it must have taken 49 damage. You must go under a very specific formation in the desert biome by a rock, and then it'll try to evolve.
That's like the Umbrella Corporation invented a Pokemon.
Yeah.
You gotta locate the thing to evolve this Pokemon.
What kills me is that they never released the Azure Flute because they thought it was going to be too confusing for players. But everyone should know Brave. Yeah. They gave Reggie Rock, Reggie Steel, Reggie.
So how would without a wiki, how would you know how to evolve Runerigus? Is there anything in the game?
They do tell you. They have an NPC who will tell you how to do it, but he's not really out in the open.
Can it be more than 40? Is it like 49 damage?
He just has to have taken 49 damage. At least.
Without dying.
Without dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's called give him a focus set and you surf on him, right?
I was playing. I recently played not Pokemon, but I was playing through Final Fantasy VII with the original with a friend. I flew down to his house. We just played Final Fantasy VII, and I was like, I think these older games were invented by big strategy guys to sell strategy guides because how did you figure some of this stuff out without without the internet? It was supposed to sell strategy guides. Because you got shit in FF7 where it's you have to talk to this NPC and occasionally he lets you know how many battles you did, and if the amount of battles you did were matching numbers, then he gives you this rock, and then if you take the rock to this who figured you go to the cave and you talk to that guy and you're like, oh, he told me how many times I say that's cool, and then you left. It's to sell strategy guides, but we don't have the big strategy guide ain't really around anymore. We got YouTube videos of that now.
Follow-up stupid question, if you don't mind me asking. Where would Delibird and Oricorio fall in this?
Oricorio, I believe on that phylogenetic tree was Oricorio is a finch, and Delibird counts as a penguin.
Oh, Delibird, okay.
Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, I could do a whole panel on the different ways Pokemon evolve and how that of their evolution.
I'll just wait till you get the link cord. Because that's a canon evolution method.
Well, I mean, it could be that like when they go through the link cable, they it mutates their DNA. They're not put back exactly how they started.
In the anime for Blast and the other one, Shellman, I think it was, they had the trade machine.
And that whole process of that one took the other's armor in the middle of trading.
Yeah. Yes.
What are your, let's say, top 3 favorite amphibians?
Top 3 favorite amphibians. Fire belly toad, Chinese giant salamander.
Yes.
And obviously red-eyed tree frog.
That's fair.
The Chinese salamander. You don't see very many of them, but they're amazing.
Yeah. I'll also take one of the hellbender.
So, right now I'm senior in high school at, in our, animal care, now it's like animal science conservation, so we actually have hellbenders.
Oh, nice. I'm going to an academic conference down in Tennessee, and as part of the conference, they have a field trip to go snorkeling with hellbenders.
Oh, nice, nice. My teacher's husband, I think, is the, like, state herpetologist or something, and so he got to go to a, like summit or something in Japan for, cryptocurrency conservation.
Interesting. I need to get packed up. I don't know if there's anybody in this room, but I technically supposed to pack up this afternoon. So.
Well, did I tell Brandon fun fact about Lugia? Sure. It wasn't supposed to exist. It was made for the movie. It was never supposed to be part of the game. But popularity pushed for any game character.
Yeah.
We were never supposed to have
Integrated through drugs and alcohol.
Also, I love your plank.
Thank you. This was a great panel. It was an amazing panel.
I saw
Fresh that never do that. I don't know. Well, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay. Okay. Well, if you have no issues, we're gonna head back to the hotel room. Okay. Fun panel, thank you.
Well,
Far back. What are they gonna do there?
I will be right back. Oh, that works. Duh.
Hello. Bye.
Or packing up.
But yeah, the last panel ended. So that's for them.
Yes, I know. They're making it so
Before we leave, I wanted to have
What?
yeah. I wanted to do something. three.
Oh, all three of us. Wow, I am so paying attention. Yep. God, I look bald. Oh my goodness.
I think you're supposed to do it.
Ryan, do you need help?
Careful, it's not. Okay.
This is not gonna work well. Good lord. You know what? Screw this. Hold on. I'm gonna come around this way. Make it a little bit easier. Good save.
Woo.
Good save.
It's not in there. We saved it and then we did. Like I said,
You need to buy a new phone case, dude.
I can't find one like that that I like.
Ah, that's fair. That's fair. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. Except the button. Did you not auto timer it? Oh. Oh wait, does yours have a button for taking the photo?
Yeah.
Oh. Take oh. Nope.
I mean, I think that'll work, right? That'll work, right? No,
Not well.
I kind of want to keep it anyways.
Do it. See, you're taller, you take the selfie.
I'm just bad at it.
Oh, well, screw it, I'll take the freaking thing. I got it. Yeah, my freaking finger's out of the way, good lord. There.
Okay, yeah, we did it. We finally did it. Okay, now we can head out.
Sound good? That way. Wait. Literally.
Well, I don't think that's the same.
I know, but like,
Not quite.
in the context, maybe you can like.
You see, so that's actually not the exact time.
Listen.